square giant Christmas tree, the Vatican's lifelike nativity scene reminds tourists of the reason for the season.
I like it. I think it's a nice reminder to Christians of Christmas, of where it all came from. It's quite large. It's pretty impressive in this setting. I think just in general it's special to be here around Christmas time.
Nativity scenes are a Christmas tradition dating back many centuries and are found in countries all across the globe. People are grateful to see a strong testimony to the true meaning of Christmas.
It's lovely. It's to see that traditions still exist and that not only is Christmas for gifts and things like that, but also that the original Christmas, the nativity scene, the Christ coming to the world still exists and is appreciated.
This intricate and detailed nativity and Christmas tree display will continue to delight visitors to the Vatican throughout the Christmas season.
The nativity scene in St. Peter's Square this year isn't at all traditional. In fact, it solicited surprise from some of its visitors.
Sembra una cosa un po'...
It looks a bit cold. I would have preferred a more traditional nativity scene. This one seems a bit cold. With the virus situation, where we can't hug each other, perhaps a traditional nativity scene would have helped face the situation and have a better Christmas. However, there are some people who appreciate the occasional change in style. To me, the nativity scene seems very modern. It's a bit strange, but I like it. It's a rather odd nativity scene. It's quite different from the style we're used to, but looking at it closely, it has its own beauty. Some people like that it includes elements related to current events, like this astronaut. There's one from outer space. When you first look at it, you might wonder, what does that have to do with anything? Then you understand the underlying message, which is that Jesus reaches every part of the universe. The statue of the astronaut wasn't placed there randomly. The nativity scene's pieces are over 50 years old. They were made in the 60s and 70s, coinciding with the arrival of man on the moon. Their creators were students at an art school in Teramo, Italy, and they wanted to include relevant themes as a reminder that Jesus was born for people of all eras. Every year, the Vatican nativity scene is accompanied by the history of its place of origin. The town of Teramo is known for its ceramics. It's a difficult material to mold, which is the reason for the statue's odd shapes. It must be a source of pride to have this nativity scene on display in St. Peter's Square, especially for a community that was especially affected by two earthquakes, one in 2009 and the other in 2017.
Executive Director of Priests for Life. Welcome to Just Ask Janet. Well, I hope you like that little intro about nativity controversy over in the Vatican. And joining me live from the Vatican in Rome is our dear, dear friend, Joan Lewis, who is one of the bureau chiefs for EWTN. She's been on our program before. And also I want to remind everyone, because this is an international interview, sometimes there's a little lag and buffering that happens when we're on the other side of the pond to hear. But I think what Joan is going to say is going to be quite interesting. And plus, we'll take your questions about the nativity scene. So, Joan, welcome to the program.
Buon Natale. Merry Christmas to you and yours.
And to you, too. And I'm so sorry, Joan, you couldn't come to the United States to be with family this year.
The travel restrictions here are more enormous. And the number of COVID cases is high here. It's very high in the United States. And I just really thought to myself, why should I risk, traveling, maybe going to California and I'm good here and I get COVID in California. So
Right.
It'll be a quiet Christmas because as of the 24th, restrictions here in Italy mean you're out. So if I wanted to go to another town, I'd have to go tonight, but I have to be in the confines of Rome from Thursday, from the 24th on. And they really don't even want people leaving their houses, Janet. If we do on the 24th go out, we have to have this government form all filled out. There's a
Wow.
little bit of a in the restriction. It does allow for example, a family to receive 2 additional people, because the government advises people in the 10 days of lockdown that they've designated, they've advised people to have their meals only who they live with. Well, the people you live with all year round. There's a little caveat in there that says that they could invite 2 extra people. So most of my friends, the people that I know in my parish and everything, they're just trying to do their best and really be only the family unit. So, tomorrow will be the last day that it won't be the last day for something like grocery shopping, but it will be the last day to be out with. I don't even know if Christmas Day after I can walk over to St. Peter's Square just to look at the papal window. He's going to be reciting, the Pope will be reciting the Angelus these days from an Orbi on Christmas. He's reciting in the Hall of Blessings. Now, is he going to appear at a window? We don't know. Because if the Pope appeared at a window, we would have a reason to leave our homes. But if I go to the square on my own, just to be someplace other than my home, will the police stop me? So we shall see. Next time we tell you.
So do you have to
if I get fined or not?
So do you have to have Christmas dinner all by yourself in your apartment, or are you going to be able to go see at least one friend and have dinner with them?
Oh, right now it looks like dinner on my own. If that changes in the next 48 hours, I'll send you an email. But I'm planning on trying to enjoy it to the max. If I'm going to be alone, my home is beautifully decorated.
Oh,
and
I know.
when things open up, I want friends for dinner. Or I have a gorgeous tree. My table is magnificent. I have poinsettias because I love flowers. I have a yadro scene that is up all year, as you probably know. So I'm going to make stuffing and mac. If I can have a friend, that's what I'm trying to find. Come over to my house, but we have a curfew, so whatever anybody, your guests have to be home by 10. So, lots of restrictions. If we save lives, Janet, a little difficulty, a little disappointment will be worth it.
Well,
So,
for our viewers, I have
here's
to
hoping.
tell them I've been to Joan's beautiful apartment. From her living room and dining room, you see the Dome of St. Peter's. She's, like I say, on the 50-yard line. It's beautifully decorated. She does have a Yadro nativity set that she keeps out year-round. And she's a wonderful cook, too. Not only is her apartment beautifully and artistically decorated, but she's also a magnificent cook and a wonderful hostess. So, Joan, I am looking forward to when I can come back to Rome, and you and I'll take you out. I still owe you an 80th birthday celebration, which we will have, and then I'll also come to your beautiful home. But talking about disappointment, I just showed a little clip, as you saw, from the nativity scene this year and 5 years ago, and the comparison. Tell us what you can tell us about this whole controversy now with this nativity scene.
It's very, very controversial here. I mean, if there's 500 comments, just go online, for Twitter and Facebook. If there's 500 comments, there's 400 that are negative. Because some people, when I first saw it, I thought, oh my gosh, these are mummies. And then, of course, it turns out they, were obviously not mummies. But which one is, we think we know who, Joseph is. We know Mary because the veil the statue was wearing has stars on it. But the opinion of so many people, and I will head that list willingly, is that in a year of so much destruction, bad news, illness, we need something uplifting. We need something beautiful, not controversial. Controversial. We needed and wanted and expected a traditional, beautiful nativity scene. And I think it's been hard for me after all these decades I've lived in Rome, Janet, is that when I worked in the big thrill, it was John Paul, by the way, St. John Paul, who in 1982 realized my word, there's no big nativity scene and tree in St. Peter's Square, and there should be, as people would come, in such huge numbers at Christmas. So as of 82, we have both a nativity scene and a tree. The trees have been offered, and almost always they're totally gorgeous, 90, 100 feet tall, by different regions of Italy, different countries, and so forth. And the nativity scene, until 2012, they were all built by the Vatican's technical services. Around November 10th or so, you could expect to see workers in St. Peter's Square setting up a scaffolding on which their nativity scene, which they had designing the previous January, and working out all of the lighting and electricity and running water if that was necessary. So, but they were stunning creations. You just wanted to stay there forever, take a picture of every square. They were beautiful. They were told such beautiful stories. And there were a series of statues. The Vincent Pallotti Institute, if memory serves me, I should have looked this up tonight, but 1800s, almost always part of the nativity scene, the three kings, obviously the Holy Family and so forth. But because of cost-cutting measures enacted in 2012, the Vatican outsourced the making scene. And what ended up happening was not so much an invitation that they sent out, but regions, parts of Italy, maybe other countries, institutes, a religious group, whatever it may have been, they offered the Vatican, we will build your crib this year. And of course, the Vatican did see the designs and pictures and knew what they were getting into. So over the years, some interesting, shall I say, nativity scenes have been erected, but this year it was like, what? Who in the Vatican saw and approved this? Does it go to the Holy Father? Does it go to the Secretariat of State? Is it just the technical services, the Vatican, that this? And I don't have any. We've been trying to find out. We believe it's people in the technical service. And the statues this year made of ceramic, and I heard one of the commentaries that you had there on this year's nativity scene. They said because it was ceramic, it was deformed. Well, that's not true at all. Janet, anytime you may have traveled in Italy outside of Rome and seen, like Beirut, seen some of the ceramic factories, oh my gosh, they make beautiful pottery. And had I thought of it, I would have brought some pieces just to hold up tonight that I have from Deruta. So a shape other than a cylinder is very, very possible. And this was the F.A. Grue, Grue, Fine Arts School in Castelli, which is the region of Abruzzo, that's east of Rome, between Rome and so I've been wondering, as I have read hundreds of comments,
right?
How are the artists reacting from this school? Now, the current students are not the ones responsible. between 1965 and 1975, the school was dedicating a lot of its time to creating nativity scenes. The figures, 12 or 13 this year, they're part of like 52 ceramic nativity scene figures that were created years. So, this too will die on. It'll be something we'll talk about in January and laugh about, but still, there's been a petition circulating to the Vatican to remove it. So,
well, I think what you should do, Joan, because it does stay up, until the baptism of the Lord. And I always remember being in Rome too for the Feast of the Three Kings,
right.
and that's a big parade at the Vatican, which I'm sure is not going to happen this year. But I wonder this year, when it's time to close the nativity scene, is there going to be a big crowd there applauding to saying, "Yay, it's leaving, goodbye"? Now I was in Rome, as you know, last Christmas time.
Whatever. Right.
And I saw last year's nativity was absolutely beautiful. It was more the traditional, what we used to. And I've been to Rome several times during the holiday season and seen the nativity scene. So I guess we just have to chalk it up and try to forget about it and focus on maybe the beautiful nativity scene that's in your church or in your home. One of our people asked me, what's my favorite nativity scene? Well, I'm a very traditionalist, but in my home, I must have over a dozen all kinds of nativity scenes. In fact, some of them I have gotten from Rome over the years. And a couple of them I leave out all year round, like you do with your Yadros, But there is one that I remember my grandma had, and I wish I had it, but my sister has it. I didn't get it, was the Hummel nativity set. Because back in the day, I used to collect Hummel. So you got the Yadro, and I would have liked the Hummel nativity sets. But, I think in spite of this all, I think it's time maybe to just say, oh, well, that's what they chose this year. So let's just ignore it at this point, and let's focus on all the positive things that we can have this Christmas, by saying, for those who first of all have lost a family member to COVID, our deepest sympathies to them. Those who are still struggling with the illness, also, you're in our prayers. And for those of us who have our health and can at least be with their family, and if not physically in person, I know a lot of families are scheduling Zoom meetings, during the holidays, so that they can gather people from different parts of the country or the world all together. So I think, I feel bad that you're there and I'm here. And also Joffrey Strickland, who works for Priest for Life, he's stuck over there and he can't get home to his family in Gulfport, Mississippi. But if we have our health, I always say, if you have your health, you have everything, right, Joan? Isn't that true?
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? These days I've been trying to think more of others. Not that I can go out and do something for others because of the restrictions, or help the homeless or whatever, right. Offer in a soup kitchen. But one thing I am making when it's really not that hard. I'm a very upbeat, optimistic person. This is only 1/20 in an entire year, even though perhaps one of the two most important feasts of the year. But if I'm going to be at home, I'm not going to sulk. I'm going to find productive things to do. I'm going to find a reason to be happy, something wonderful to read, something good or funny on television. The highlight of the day will be Mass. I will be a lector at St. Patrick's. I will see friends. So most important part of the day. And when you know what? My mom and dad, especially mom, taught us when we were little, as we were growing up, and there were disappointments in war or whatever. Your first date didn't go well or whatever the thing was. They always said, offer it up for the poor souls in purgatory. And you know what?
That's right.
Not with resignation, with joy. That's what I want to try and do Christmas Day, is to offer up what would have been time with family, or even time with friends in Rome, or even the no possibility of walking over to St. Peter's Square, I had to just say, okay, Lord, if there's one or two people that are almost sorry, will this do to help them? That's really the only way I can see that, and the only way to get through an important day without. I don't want to be sorrowful. I don't want to. I live alone, but I'm never alone. And I think you and Ed. I'm a people person, but you know what? The next week, I'll have people back in my life.
Right.
A little
Well,
sacrifice.
you and I are both people person. And just to let everybody know too, let's not forget New Year's, right? It's right around the corner. And I know so many people are saying, oh, goodbye to 2020. Goodbye. They're so fed up. Goodbye to 2020. But I hope they're really prayerfully looking ahead now. Father Pavone, when he preached homilies around New Year's Eve, he used to always say to people that, first of all, New Year's Eve, it should be a time of prayer before midnight and prayer after midnight. It doesn't have to be exactly, right before. But, I'm saying maybe at 11 o'clock, just say some prayers and thanking. Everyone could find a few things to thank the Lord for in 2020, no matter how bad they thought things were. Like you said, let's look things positive and thank the Lord. But then look ahead. Father Pavone always says, it's like you get a brand new book to write in. God gives you an empty journal to begin the new year, right? And all the graces and opportunities are set before you, but it's your mental attitude and your attitude going into the new year and saying, well, Lord, I don't know what this year is going to bring, but I will embrace it in a prayerful way and see what it has in store. So what kind of reflections do you have when you on New Year's Eve normally?
Well, I think the first thing obviously is looking forward to a more ever before life, or simply because of how bad all over the world 2020 was for so many people. So being able to physically, mentally, spiritually renew will already be a big joy. And I think it's a promise of what have I learned? We don't have enough time tonight for that, but what have I learned about about my faith in this COVID period? And to take the positive things and maybe make them grow. And I think New Year's Day, it would be interesting to say a rosary and make each bead, like of the first decade, this is what I am grateful for. Second decade, this is what God has given to me, and I should be able to use to honor Him. Third decade, each little bead is someone who's asked you to pray for them. Fourth decade, you'd be surprised when you take a decade at a time, and for each decade and each bead, how fast a rosary goes. So I think we can have a New Year special rosary.
That's right. Well, that's true, Joan, and I really want to thank you for that. And I just want to tell our viewers, first of all, it was such a joy to have you here on our program so close to Christmas. And I want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And I'm praying, Joan, that in 2021, I'm coming back to Rome as soon as everything gets lifted and it's safe. I'm booking my ticket and we'll celebrate your birthday, okay? So thank you for joining me.
Well, there'll be,
Yep.
Wait a minute, can you see this?
What?
Okay.
What's that say?
Can you see my plaque that I have up?
Keep calm.
Keep calm and love Roma.
Ah,
so
that's good.
So there we are.
There we are. Well, ciao, ciao.
My wish and health more than anything else.
Okay. Thank you again, Joan.
Alla prossima. Buon Natale.
Buon Natale. Well, brothers and sisters, thank you for joining us. I do apologize for some of the audio. That's what happens sometimes when you're broadcasting across the pond. But I thought, listening to Joan and what they're going through in Rome, they're on a pretty lockdown over there for Christmas. So for those of you who are in states where you are allowed to go out, we are allowed to visit family and friends, please do it safely. And say a little prayer for those that are in these lockdown situations and how sad it must be for them. But look at Joan, boy, she's going to make the best of it no matter what. Well, just to tell you what's coming up, of course, tomorrow, Alvita King will be coming to you during this time slot like she does every Wednesday. And Thursday and Friday, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we're going to take those days off, like you all probably are. But then next week, we have some great special programming lined up so you can tune back in. And I just want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a blessed Christmas, and a prayerful time. And enjoy whatever you can be doing with your family. And like Joan, if you are alone by yourself, like Joan said, let's try all of us to pray that beautiful rosary idea she gave us and think of the good things. I bet if you got a clean piece of paper, and instead of focusing on the bad, let's focus on whatever those blessings are for 2020 and say, thank you, Lord, and I'm ready to receive and open up this new year on a positive note. So this is Janet Marana, Executive Director of Priests for Life, and I'll talk to you soon. God bless and have a wonderful Christmas season.